Welcome to the Thriving Farmer Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Kilpatrick. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and celebrate sustainable farming. We believe that you can build a profitable, sustainable farm that gives you true farm freedom. Join us as we talk to farmers, innovators, educators, and entrepreneurs to glean their top takeaways in business and life. This episode is sponsored by Rimmel Greenhouse Systems, makers of quality greenhouse structures. Whether you're just getting started or buying your 10th tunnel, Rimmel has a structure to fit your needs. I've purchased and grown in Rimmel houses and would recommend them to everyone. Hey, Thriving Farmers, Michael Kilpatrick here with yet another episode of the Thriving Farmer Podcast. And today's podcast is a little bit different. I am joined today by my wife, Savannah, who is the mother to our three kids, the brains behind the operation, and keeps us all fed and taken care of here on the farm. So we are doing a special podcast about strawberries. So welcome to the podcast, Savannah.
Thank you for having me. I've been eagerly waiting for this moment.
All right. Well, we were also going to have Courtney, who has been with us from the start, but unfortunately, every time we sat down to do it with her, something came up, and so we couldn't do it. But I think she was just as pleased not to be a part of it. So she only said with I think resistance that she would come on here. So, but we obviously this year we did a U-pick strawberries, and that's unlike last year. Last year we did 1,200 plants. We picked them all ourselves. Well, us and our team. It was a bit crazy. We sold all of them for a premium price, and people raved about them. But we knew that people were asking for U-pick. There's a lot of people asking for that, and they were so popular. We knew it would work. So we planted 7 times the amount. We moved up to almost 8,000 plants, and we just really wrapped up the season.
Yeah.
Now, I think one of the big things with the aspect is we do an annual bed system, and that's very different than what most folks do. We do Chandler variety. We do annual beds. So that means we plant September, we harvest in the spring, and then we till the plants under, and we do the whole process over again. It's a little more complicated than that. We have a whole course actually on the annual bed system, but that's pretty much the process. The beautiful aspect of it is that for organic growers, which we are, you don't have the disease problem, so you're going to have a matted row that you keep around for multiple years. You're also, secondly, going to be earlier. So we start picking, we were picking 3 weeks before the June bearers around here, people that do June bearing.
Yeah, I mean, we had ripe berries, not a ton, but we had ripe berries around Mother's Day, which was the 7th or 8th of May.
Yeah, I think like that Saturday we picked our first ripe berries.
Yeah.
And then there's still a few berries out there.
Yeah.
And it's
there's a random blossom too.
Yeah, it's the 10th. So technically we're picking for a month, but it's really 3 weeks of solid picking. Yeah. And I think we need to pull the graph, but typically like 7 to 10 days after, what Sunday was it that basically we opened up again to U-pick because there's so many berries out there?
Oh, it was.
Was that this is June, so that would have been we started picking like the Saturday the 7th was the first berry picked. The Mother's Day weekend was like this right here, right? Mm-hmm. So was it the 14th or the 21st that we literally...
I think it was the 14th.
Yeah, it was the 14th that we literally had so many berries we had to open...
On a Sunday.
Yes, which we do not. We're closed on Sundays, but we literally, Saturday afternoon, I put out a Facebook post and an email, and by Sunday noon, we had filled what? We had, I think, 84 people come, 84 families come to pick U-pick.
Yeah, and we let...
employees pick that day.
Pick some, yeah.
And we let some other friends just come out and
They picked for the farm and for themselves.
Yeah.
In a kind of give and take.
So, yeah, we'll talk about that later because I think that's a cool way we do it, which gives us berries. So that's kind of like the season. That's how that works. The other thing that we really like is that the annual bed system means the fields are super clean. So a couple things people said repeatedly to us when they came out was, my gosh, your field was so clean. We went to this other place and there was thistles right down the entire center of the field, which made it really hard to pick.
But they'd come out in their long sleeves and their big boots, and they're like, is it going to be muddy and a mess? And I'm like, no, your strollers will be fine.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable for the kids.
Yeah. People liked it.
Yeah.
So the only way we could make this work, because we obviously didn't have acres of berries. We only had 8,000, which is less than a half acre. And we have very limited parking.
Yes.
And the busiest day of strawberry season, we were redoing the parking lot.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
So we made it work, but yeah, we only had like, I think 16 parking spots, 18 parking spots. So what we had to do was we had to schedule people for UPick, and we used an app called Ticket Tailor, and it allowed you to set up reoccurring events, and so we could charge people for tickets. We only charged $1 for tickets, and then $2 on the weekends, but we probably could have charged, I'd say we probably could have charged $3, $4, $5 easily.
Yeah.
And people would have paid it.
Yeah.
They didn't complain about that at all. They completely understood the system.
I think the $1's nice, though. It made it easy for the situations when we had to cancel or, you know, people couldn't come or something. It was easy.
Yeah, it wasn't like, I paid all this money, $5. Now, we still did have people ask for the $1 refund if they didn't make it or something came up, which on one aspect we're like, we reserved that spot for you and you obviously didn't come. But we did give refunds. Again, it wasn't about that. It was about really just making sure we weren't overwhelmed with 9,000 cars. Because if we hadn't, we probably would have been.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, Saturdays would have been literally a zoo.
And they were already a zoo.
Yeah.
Because you had classes on Saturdays in May, and we just are open for other people to come and visit.
Well, I mean, we do pre-pick berries too, and there was a constant stream of people coming for that as well.
Right. Yeah.
So, so it came down to parking. At max, we were scheduling 12 cars every half hour, and that was really tight.
Yeah.
Even with overflow parking, which was just the lawn, that became pretty tight. We offered a couple ways for people to pick them too. We had these little white baskets, which I think were 2.5 quart. It held about 2.5 to 3 pounds. We had cardboard flats, which were non-waxed, and I actually think that was a mistake because when it was wet, they would fall apart.
Really fluffy. Yeah.
They were cheap. I mean, I think they were 12 or 13 cents each, compared to the wax ones, which I think are like almost $1. But in future, I would say bring your own containers, or we'll charge you $1 for it, and we just charge them the rate what it costs us to bring those in.
Wax box.
Yeah, because I think it's a much better quality.
Yeah.
Now, the wax boxes too are a little bit bigger, so it encouraged people to pick more, which did get some people did have sticker shock because they could fit. I think if you really mounded the cardboard flats, you get like 16 pounds in there.
I told people 10, but it was kind of just like, how much are you going to mound something?
Yeah. The white baskets we did for a flat fee, and there was abuse on that. There were definitely some people which literally had
berries falling out.
and at that point, I got so mad one day, I just charged them by the pound, and it was an extra $10. But I clearly said, you've got so many berries in there, I'm just going to charge you by the pound. And the lady seemed to be, it was like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because she was, but I think that is the one problem if you do a flat rate thing that people can just, they fill it so much.
That, I suppose, is the benefit of them bringing their own containers and just putting a tear weight on it.
Yeah.
And then...
Because that's the third option we offered. We said, bring your own containers. And actually, Kate, who's one of our employees, because we weren't even sure how to do that. She says, I've done other places. This is exactly how we do it.
Yeah, she just had like painter's tape and a Sharpie and just weighted.
Yep.
Put a number on it.
Weighed it, put a number on the side, and it worked. It wasn't ideal. One lady brought out pizza boxes.
What I loved was the very romantic pickers who brought their vintage baskets with their beautiful little tea towels in them. And I was like, you're having a photographic moment with your berry basket. It was adorable, but it did make me chuckle.
Yes. That was cute.
Yeah.
Those other people brought, containers from other places, which was fine.
Yeah.
5-gallon buckets. We definitely had the parade of 5-gallon buckets, and there were people that filled those to the top.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, that was the way we offered it. Now, we did get a premium price, and I think it's a higher price than, I don't know anyone else that had such a high price.
But we had premium berries, in my opinion.
I mean, we do have very good berries, and we work really, really hard on that. I mean,
and because the fields are so nice. I mean, there's so many things that I think go in.
Yeah, but we charge $4.50 a pound. We did, at the beginning, we were over 10 pounds, I think $4, and then we dropped that within a few days because we realized that people just didn't care.
Yeah.
Now, right at the end, we did drop to $350 for like the last couple of days because the quality dropped so much. We'll talk about why the quality dropped off later. But we did charge the premium $450. We talked earlier why people liked the patch. We were the earliest too. I mean, we started picking before even people further south than us did, and
which I think, I mean, it's awesome, but also I think that's why it was really busy. It was so crazy on weekends, and we wanted to really accommodate like kids not being in school on those days because kids were still in school.
Yeah, that's the problem in our early picking. Absolutely.
Right. Your families can't come out.
Yeah. So, but for ours, we started you pick at the hot days, 8 a.m., and the last slot was open at 6 p.m. So they could have come after school.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah, but when we did see that, we did see the families come in the evening. But so we, again, obviously we're charging a premium price, and actually there's a farm that the day we closed officially U-Pick, they announced that they were opening U-Pick at $2.49 a pound. And again, that I didn't care on one aspect because we were already closed, but another aspect, it really ticked me off because I know what goes into growing a good crop of berries, and I know that they were not covering their costs, and that just puts, I believe, to me, puts a whole damper on the producing building a profitable farming business, because that pricing is no way near what it takes to actually run a successful farm.
Sure.
But we were the earliest, and we really incentivized reviews too. We actually gave away 1 week a $25 gift certificate to one person who left us a review or posted on Facebook and tagged us. Before the season 2, though, we had an entire promotion campaign. I mean, we do this big event, big post every year of win a free flat of berries if you guess the date. We had over 80 people, share and like and 80 people share that. We had hundreds of comments on that. And then we also just ran ads pushing people to sign up for the wait list. Yeah. And we have a webpage for our berries that talks about that. So if you just go to farmoncentral.com/strawberries or strawberry, I think it's strawberries. I think it's strawberries. You go there, you'll see the exact way we laid that out. We put some videos on there too. And then we ran ads that pushed U-Pick. And, some days we were running $100 in ads. Yeah. But, that direct correlated to a full picking schedule. And, the busy days we were selling, 600-700 pounds of berries? Right. So, $4.50 a pound, that immediately pays for that. And then obviously those people that are coming for berries are buying our salad mix, they're buying milk, they're buying transplants, they're buying everything else from us. And so our sales, in May were record.
We had people come back multiple times to U-Pick.
That's a good point, too.
And then go, oh, we didn't realize you had transplants, or we didn't know you had this, X, Y, and Z.
So we use the U-Pick really to just put us on the map as a local farm as well, because we're a brand new operation. We've really only been in business for 18 months.
Yeah, so many people were like, how long have you been here? This is only our second year. So, people are like, oh, we missed out on something. And I'm like, no, we're really that new.
Yeah, brand new. Yeah. So the ads, the reviews, the earliest, I think that was the reason we were at command. And obviously, we pushed that we're all not certified organic. We grow according to organic standards. And we were very transparent about exactly what we do spray. We actually posted a video of one of our employees spraying, Actinovate, which is how we deal with gray mold. And again, people love to see that transparency of our farm, just exactly how we're growing things. And, there was moms that would say, I came 45 minutes, people that came an hour to pick our berries because they were organic. Right. Because they value that. Right. Really hard to find. Yeah. Let's talk management, because I think management was something we definitely learned about. One of the early things we did was we numbered all the rows. So every single, we grow them in 100-foot long rows, two rows per bed, and every single one had basically a sign on it. Just a laminated numbered post sign. Yeah, so if you go to our website or go to our Facebook page, I'm sure you can scroll back and find something that shows that. But basically laminated, it was 1 through 25, and then we had 200-foot sections, they split in the middle. And they were, 25A and 25. And so that's where we kept that. And so then we would just assign people to those.
Right. But then halfway through the picking season, to try to make it a little more organized, you and our team member Kate came up with a different way of like sending people out with a little piece of paper.
That didn't work. Yes. So we did come up with that.
I thought it was really a smart idea. I just think the execution.
What we developed that into is that the person managing UPIC, and so for the system to work, you really need one person on UPIC, especially with 24 people coming per hour.
Right.
And so that person, when they tell the person where to go, and they also see what do they want to pick. If they want to pick 5-gallon buckets worth, they may go to a different section than if they just want to pick a basket or two.
Sure.
And so they also said, okay, when they came back, said, how much did you pick? And where did you pick? And so they would write that down in a spreadsheet that laid out all the different rows. And so if they were picking, row number 4 and they only picked 3 white baskets, then we would send another group of people with just baskets to row
number 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then throughout the middle of the day, we'd have someone walk the field and make or write down exactly. He said, okay, this is picked out. This still has berries. And then typically at the last end of the day, the last hour, we just tell people to go wherever the heck they wanted.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all. Just go out and get some berries.
Yeah.
Hey, thriving farmers. Each year we are faced with 2 important investment decisions. We should be investing in systems that increase productivity and in inputs that develop soil. In December of 2020, I was introduced to a seed, soil, and foliar prebiotic treatment. This product is called Ultra. Ultra is an OMRI-listed prebiotic formula manufactured by AgriGrow. I have personally been running several trials testing Ultra on my farm. I'm impressed. Ultra increased our strawberry yield production by 18%. On a 900 square foot trial, $6 in product cost returned me $868 worth of marketable strawberries. We also had decade-old heirloom corn seed that I have been trying to germinate with no success. In a Hail Mary attempt with my remaining few seeds, I soaked them overnight in a diluted solution of Ultra. They germinated. If you would like to try Ultra or any other AgriGrow product, I believe this would be a worthwhile investment on your farm. Here's the best news yet. AgriGrow has agreed to offer a 10% discount to all thriving farmer listeners. Simply use the coupon code THRIVE when you check out. Again, that is THRIVE for a 10% off discount on your first order. Head to smallfarm.solutions to order today. Now, I think that the thing too is we're really, really clear on the rules. What were the rules?
We did make a video about the rules. It was no eating in the field.
Yep.
No running in the field.
Yes.
No animals in the field.
Yeah.
And gosh, was there another rule?
I think one of them was like, this is our home, respect it.
Oh, yeah. That's always a problem all year long.
Yeah, people jump in our trampoline. Yeah.
I only had to break a couple little boys' hearts. But yeah, those were the rules. And I would say everybody was very respectful. We didn't have anybody like trampling through the rows or...
Now, the one thing I would say is that because we plant in 5-foot centers, the rows are like a little tight. And so you get trampled berries.
Sure.
But I think you're just always going to do that because people don't know how to watch their feet.
Yeah, and kids are just kind of like walking around. It's, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, there was the 4-year-old that was eating in the field, and some of the moms were like, put a half pound on for the kids.
Yeah, they would always be like, they definitely ate some, charge me for more.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think people are really respectful. And I think that really comes back to we're very transparent on who we are, why we're doing what we're doing, and we really focus on being a community, talking about being a benefit to the community. We're not here to, just take your money and fleece you.
No, for sure.
We give back to the community, we do different things for that. And I don't know, we just try to let people realize what it takes to run a farm.
Absolutely. And I think we're parents we're people who value this kind of thing. So like we think about what we would want to experience or do. If the tables were to be reversed, what we would want. And I mean, you can't make everybody happy. There were definitely some.
Yeah. So let's talk about that.
Masters.
Let's talk. So I think, we'll talk about that in a second. But I think the management, the numbered rows.
Yeah.
We also had a team member walk the groups back.
Yes.
And I think that was really important.
Because then you could lay out like, hey, make sure you leave the ones with the white tips.
Yes.
Look for these berries. Like, don't be afraid to just lift the plant up and look inside. Because people have no idea how to.
Yeah. We had a guy. He left us a glowing review. He came dressed in a suit, fancy shoes.
He had a pocket square, honey. He was on another level.
Now we're friends on Facebook.
Okay. I literally thought there was a reporter here that was like interviewing you. I was so confused. I was like,
but
this fancy man in the field.
He had never picked berries before.
Okay.
I mean, again, grown people who never picked berries before. And I think the thing that we have to realize is people are moving further and further from agriculture.
Right.
And so you have to bring them back. I mean, we probably could have run an ad that was like, hey, here's how to pick berries at the farm on Central. 1, grab your basket. 2, head back to the field. 3, pull the leaves back. Have Charlotte demonstrate. That would have been...
Get really excited when you hear them pop.
Yeah, but I think that too is like we took pictures of the kids in the berry patch and we used that picture of Charlotte as promotional. That killed for reach and stuff. Yeah, so I mean that's a really photo that we'll continue to use. But it just if you go to our Facebook page, you can see that photo that really converted well for ads. But I think back to the management, walking them back to the field, and then we brought in a CSA member to manage that, and now we're actually bringing her on permanently onto the team because she was great with customers. She was great just talking about the farm and upselling the entire time. So hey, we offer you pick, but as she walked them back, she said we also have the greenhouse with transplants, we also have a CSA, all the other different things that we offer. She was really good at talking about. So I know we've definitely increased the build, the kind of the reach of the farm.
Sure.
I think that was all on management. Anything else that we did? Expectations. I think that's huge.
Yeah, expectations are huge. There was a lot of there's always a lot of phone calls. Like, do you have pre-picked berries? Do you have people wanting to just show up and pick without taking?
Yes. And so that was because obviously we're on a 12,000 car a day road. We had a strawberry sign out by the road.
A giant flag out there, which
13-foot tall flag.
That was necessary, but
it was 100% necessary. We had on the sign, book you pick online. If people showed up and we had open slots,
we let them pick.
We didn't charge them $1. But if they just showed up and it was busy, we're like, hey, please just go online and book. And I said, we're completely sold out. I'm sorry.
We had people do that and then come back
an hour later.
Like 2 hours. Yeah, those girls came back later.
They literally stood in the parking lot, booked their slot.
And came back later.
Which was fine. But I think setting expectations, I mean, this last week, and one of the reasons we didn't get the podcast recorded earlier this week is we were dealing with opening up slots and not correctly realizing how many berries were out there and the quality of the berries. Yeah. And that just makes, from my perspective, and I think a lot of our team members, you just feel really foolish because you're like, oh, there's berries here, but they're not great. Or, you have to hunt for them, which people just don't. No. And some people think they should just literally, be walking out there with angels singing in their ears.
Berries just falling into their baskets.
Yes.
Swing by.
Yeah, exactly. So, that doesn't happen. So, some of those people, I was to the point, I was like, team, you can just give them $5 back and just ask them to leave. Because, again, we want to have a set a precedent and have the people on our farm who we want to minister to. And if people are grumpy and upset because they can't find berries, then this is not the farm for them.
Right. Or, this is not the season of the field right now. That was 2 weeks ago. This is just the way strawberry fields work.
In week 3 and week 4.
Right. I can't make you see an ad sooner than you see it. Or you know what I mean.
Or you didn't just hear about that. And then the other thing was customer service too online. So we did not have this proper support for people getting questions about tickets. So bringing a team person to be able to manage that.
Yeah, just like the voicemails, the text messages,
because that was a lot.
It was. It always is. Or it was last year. It was this year.
Yeah, the messenger requests.
You had wanted to make some kind of phone number people could call to be like, we have berries, we don't have berries.
Yes.
We just update it constantly, and that just never
happened. It never worked well. Yeah. That would be, ideally there would be, we just have plenty of berries and we just constantly, every day we're picking.
Yeah.
And that actually comes back to one of the things we would change, one of the learning opportunities is we got to about, let's say, end of week 2, and we hit a wall where the quality dropped off dramatically. And that was
rain.
There was some rain, which obviously caused problems. But also people don't go under the leaves. Right. And they don't pick berries, which then go bad, and then they infect the other berries, and they cause, we pulled 5-gallon buckets out of the field of bad berries.
Right.
So the strategy for next year is that we're going to pick every single day. We're going to be picking through so that the entire farm is picked through in a week. And so our team will pick maybe Monday they'll pick rows 1 through 6 for retail. Then Tuesday they'll pick 7 through 12, and then work their way through the farm. And that way we have plenty of berries for the farm, for the retail, and for our freezers. Because that was the thing, is last year we actually froze enough berries that we were able to sell a frozen product.
Right.
Which we just don't even have enough for ourselves.
Well, we'll be fine. I mean, we're going to be fine. But I was really hoping that we would have, you have this many berry plants.
Yes.
I'm going to have tons of strawberries in the freezer. It's so fun to be able to offer strawberry sauce or jam or some added value product.
Yeah. We even bought another freezer.
We did.
And it's empty down in the basement.
It'll come in handy for tomatoes, but
Yeah. So that's the strawberry thing there. So what else was there? There was learning opportunities was walk the field daily, release less tickets more often. So
and I think that was just a tension that myself, our bookkeeper, people, our team members out on the farm, we'd be like, it's too many, and you would be like,
but there's so many berries, And in the beginning of the season, on one aspect, we needed to sell more tickets because we weren't cleaning the field fast enough.
But that's where our team coming in and picking behind is really crucial because
but we didn't have team.
I know, but
we were very short-staffed. That was the other problem.
And having such an early season, it means our high school, college help, they're not out of school.
That's See, that's another massive problem.
That help that comes in to do those kinds of things.
They didn't come until the second week of berries.
Exactly, and we didn't. That's not when it was needed.
Yeah, we needed them from the start.
Yeah.
Clear signage.
So then there wasn't good training on picking
quality and stuff like that. Yeah. So then we had clear signage. That's super important. Be even clearer signage. That was the other thing.
We needed price of berries.
Yes, to prevent sticker shock.
Yes, because people would come up and be like.
So we had the pricing on our website. Mm-hmm. We did not have the pricing in the ticket. So when they got the ticket confirmation, it should have said, here's the pricing, here's exactly how it works, here's a video to go watch.
Right. And then there should have been a sign when they walked up to the bus and we gave them the spiel.
Yeah.
We say it, but people are taking in so much information. Or thinking about if they're
thinking about the field. They're not thinking about that they're $4.50 a pound. We did have one person who tried to leave their berries. Yeah. And thankfully our employee said, no. I want to ask what we should have said, that's fine, we'll take them.
I was going to say, we could have
free picked them. Yeah. Okay. But know your flow, know how the process works. And then we talked about and then field management too. So we made a mistake of adding a little too much nitrogen. So we're organic system. And typically in conventional systems, they're running super low organic matter, and they're just hitting them every single week with nitrogen. And so, again, we're trying to learn how to grow better strawberries. We've been doing it for over a decade now. But we've always struggled with, in the spring, getting them green enough fast enough. So we put nitrogen on, through the drip, and we just have to cut that back. Because not only do we add that, but we use the Ultra, which is a prebiotic, and basically it makes your fertilizer more efficient, and it wakes up the soil life. And the problem is, as week 2 of the berries happens, we've stopped fertilizing by then, but now it's almost too much. It's too little too late, is that you can't stop the nitrogen in the soil. And so the plants are just getting super big and bushy. The berries end up going a little soft, and then some disease moves in.
Yeah.
So,
Which did not ever affect the flavor of the berries.
No, because the flavor in the last bit was
fantastic.
Yeah, it almost got better throughout the season.
It really did, which I remember last year, the opposite happening. They got less flavorful. And we had gray mold last year, which we didn't really have a big problem with. So
we sprayed for that, and we used Organics 800, we used Actinovate, and we used Serenade. And, of course, we also sprayed the Ultra on as well. Yeah. So we get kind of, again, they're all organic, and we saw rain coming, we would have proactively send the team out and spray the entire field. Yeah. And that seemed to work really well. I feel like our gray mold this year was half of what it was last year. And we still had pretty good rains.
We did. We had quite a few. But anyway, back to the nitrogen, it did not affect the flavor. It just affected, that's why we dropped the price at the end, because we had the little brown spots.
Yeah. It didn't look great. So we're going to, so I think we will still wake the plants up with nitrogen, but we will stop putting nitrogen on when we start seeing white berries. Again, they go from that green to white because we waited till we started to see them going from white to red. And so we need to stop the nitrogen about 3 weeks earlier than that.
That makes sense.
And probably cut the total amount by 3/4 or something.
Yeah.
So I think we ended up with like 40 pounds. So I think we'll probably hit them with 20 pounds and just make sure it's super early.
Yeah.
The other big thing too is spacing sections. We struggled with putting row covers on and off because we're putting 3 layers on.
Yeah, and the 200-foot rows are just
tough.
They're very long.
So 100-foot rows of strawberries with the covers I think works better for our system, and blocks too. So 5 beds, 100-foot long, fits our size row covers, and so then just making sure the entire field's cut up in blocks like that.
Right. Yeah.
And then the other thing we did was we put 3 layers on of Ag 30 instead of like a 519 or 518 like a Type R, which the big people use. But I like the 3 layers because it allowed us to put maybe only 1 on when it's not as cold, or we can use those covers the rest of the season in other places.
Yeah, just need to find a better way of clamping them together.
What we did at the end of the season, and we didn't only able to use it once or twice, but we got spring clamps and just put all 3 layers together with spring clamp, and so you just have to find the spring clamp, not trying to find the edges in this pile of row covers.
And then it's always so windy in the spring that you're just it's like wedding veils.
So the other thing is we will have a laminated sheet that shows the absolutely direction of how they were supposed to go back on and off. We had crew who basically completely decided to rewrite the playbook and mess them up more than once, which was a small disaster. It made me very upset.
Right, because 200 feet is a lot to unravel.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're doing these nights and weekends too.
Right,
so it's not like crew's there at 7 o'clock on a Sunday or 5 o'clock on a Sunday when you have to cover for a Monday and then you have to uncover a Sunday morning. It seemed to always be that. So again, putting the system in place that works super quick is super important for that.
You and Simon could go cover them and uncover them next year.
Well, he won't quite be old enough. But I think the other thing too is we're trying to extend the season. So that's the other big thing is we've talked to a number of different experts on different ways to extend the season, and we've got a few tricks up our sleeve that we should hopefully allow us to go to a 6-week season next year.
Yeah.
And I think the one other huge takeaway is that when they start showing up for UPIC, you need to have every other crop available. Like if we had sugar snap peas, if we had piles of cucumbers, if we had, flats and flats of tomatoes, summer squash, all stuff we could very easily grow in tunnels and have ready in time. And I remember Eric Pillemer, who was our first teacher. He was our mentor, first mentor in farming. He went up to Ledgewood, which is a greenhouse company in Vermont, and they basically, I think, grew in 27 different tunnels. And basically where they're located, he told Eric, he said, our season is Memorial Day to Labor Day. So, Memorial Day, we have tomatoes, we have everything. Through Labor Day, and then we have nothing. Yeah. And so that's why their aspect of using so many tunnels is they were putting summer squash in tunnels so they could have it
ready, like Memorial Day.
Yeah. So we need to make sure that we have those crops available. We're going to heat the greenhouses earlier so that people come out. Oh, and strawberry baskets. That was a huge.
Well, the flowered baskets and strawberry baskets.
Yeah. So
really
again, people obviously come and buy strawberries and they want to buy strawberry plants. So we literally took bare root plants, put them in 4-inch pot, charged $4 for them. And then strawberry planters and baskets, hanging baskets worked fabulous. So I think we're going to do that much more increase next year, a lot more of that, just so we have lots of different options for people. Because I think we had people buy flats of those. They were buying 18 pots at $3.99 a pot, and our cost of that's literally less than $1.
Yeah.
So again, it was a really good markup for us, and another added value. Oh, and the little strawberry hullers.
The corers,
We sold what about 50 or 60 of those?
Whole box, and then you ordered more. Those things really were. I thought they were kind of gimmicky at first, but they really did help my efficiency in the kitchen, putting strawberries up.
So there you go, folks. I think that is the kind of a recap of our 2022 strawberry season.
Your very first UPIC. You'd never done that.
We hadn't, and I had no idea how it was going to go, and we figured it out. So I think we had over 3,000 people come.
Wow.
Over the 3 weeks. And
I think that is the one thing about it being a shorter window. Like when you say you're going to expand it to 6 weeks, I'm like, oof, that's a lot more craziness. But maybe it's not as crazy because it won't be as much at one time.
That's the goal. The goal is not to have the massive, on day 7 where we're picking so many.
I don't want to
pounds.
have to be open so many Sundays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that was a fluke where Saturday it rained like from noon on Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what happened.
So a bunch of people canceled and didn't come.
Yeah and right. So I walked out. Saturday at 5 o'clock, I was walking the field and I could just see literally hundreds of pounds. So. But if you go back into our Facebook feed and look at the post, I'm very intentional in how we word those posts to pull people in. Basically, we said, people, we need your help to come pick these berries because we're going to lose them otherwise. And people gladly came out and gladly paid for the privilege.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. If you guys have specific questions, feel free to reach out about this as always. And we will be having, a little bit more formal education around this subject happening at some point. Probably won't be till the fall. If you do want to do annual bed strawberries, you need to plant them. Start booking your tips or your plants now. There's a couple different nurseries for that. We have all the training on that specific topic in the Small Farm University, an A to Z training on that, on how to grow those. We don't have a training yet on UPIC on exactly how we do all the the back end or the even the front end on that, but that is something we hope to have here in the future. So again, reach out if you have any questions, and we will chat with you next time. This episode is sponsored by Rimmel Greenhouse Systems, makers of quality greenhouse structures. Whether you're just getting started or buying your 10th tunnel, Rimmel has a structure to fit your needs. I've purchased and grown in Rimmel houses and would recommend them to everyone. So there you have it, another episode in the books. So I'd love if you would hop on over to iTunes and leave us a rating and a review. Those mean everything to us. We love to hear what you're thinking. If you have a podcast guest that you can recommend, please pop on over to the Thriving Farmer Podcast website and leave us a review. That's thrivingfarmerpodcast.com.